Hi, it's Paris from Epic Reviews the Tech Channel, and today I went over to the Microsoft Store and I got some hands-on time with the new Surface Pro. And my first impression of it, after picking it up and just playing with a couple minutes, was I liked it. And it kind of surprised me, the fact that I liked it. Now, part of it was the novelty, I think, of working on actual Windows by touch. It was just, there's just something, this is real interesting about it, because I think I've always thought of Windows as desktop and keyboard and mouse, and thought of the Apple operating system. I don't work on many Macs, so the iPad, the iPhone as all touch oriented. So to be able to do things in Windows where you're touching the screen was really something interesting. My other impression, first thing, was that it was actually heavier than I was expecting. I have worked on a number of iPads, and so I'm familiar with that weight and balance, and this just struck me as heavy. With the typing cover closed over it and holding it, it almost felt like carrying a small laptop, really. But the concerns I had before going to see one in person were mostly alleviated. My number one concern was that I wasn't going to be able to read the screen. The fact that it's only a 10.5-inch diagonal screen, but it's set for high-definition display, I imagined it was really going to be eye-strainingly tiny, but it wasn't. It's probably towards the lower level of what I could manage, so if my eyesight gets much worse, I'll have to wear glasses or else use it only connected to a bigger screen. But in terms of using it just as it is, it's functional for me. I can read fine everything that was on there, web pages, email, the different programs, all the type. It's very sharp and very clear. I'd say it's a very good screen, which certainly helps when you've got such small type on it. So that was my number one concern, was that I wasn't going to be able to work with it at that screen size. Now, you can certainly enlarge things just with gestures, but I asked one of the employees there if I would be able to just, say, set it for, like in Windows 7, you go in and say, just give me everything at 150%, including the tiles and, that screen, everything. They said, no, you can't do that. You can go into the desktop, you can, when you're in something, you can modify the size of it, but in terms of just telling the computer, there's a general setting to say, make everything 125%, 200% bigger than it is, there isn't any option for that. Another concern I had was whether I would be getting this gorilla arm with having to have a hand up all the time and holding it up where you get those super sore muscles and lose some sensation in your arm. But it looks like they've taken that into consideration, and it shouldn't be too much of an issue. With either of the cover type keyboards, I found out, actually, someone in a comment on my other video told me that there's actually a touchpad built into it, which worked pretty well, actually. And so you don't need to be constantly moving your hand over the side or touching up on the screen when you've got the device with the little kickstand out and the keyboard cover out in front. All of your business is happening right here, so I really didn't find that to be a problem. So I think ergonomically it'll be as good as it can be. Laptops, of course, are never very ergonomic because you got to either look down at the screen or you got to be typing up here like this. So that's always an issue with that sort of device. One thing I didn't try was whether that cover keyboard, since it's Bluetooth, I assume it would actually work at a distance, but I didn't think to try taking it off and having the Surface over here and the cover keyboard here and see if I could actually type on it. But about the cover keyboard, there's two types. One's a little cheaper, one's a little more expensive. And man, is it worth getting the more expensive one. Just in my short time I was able to spend with it, such a tremendous difference. The first one I tried had the less expensive cover, which is just, you basically tap on it where they have the keys printed and that types. And that's, maybe 20 words a minute in there. I tried typing on the screen. I actually like typing on the screen better than on that cover. It really didn't do much for me. So I was thinking, well, this is again going to be an issue because of the interface. But I tried out another Surface Pro with the mechanical keyboard, which is only, I think, $10 more. World of difference. I sat down at that, put my hands on the home key, and I was typing full speed. It felt almost no different than typing on a laptop keyboard. So they did a good job with that, because they must not have much travel distance at all. I was kind of surprised that when you folded it up, I didn't realize the actual keyboard with the keys and everything folds right on top of the glass screen of the Surface. And I asked if that was an issue. I mean, I don't think the employees there really know, but they said no, that they factored that in, and that whatever it's made of and how hard the glass is, you won't get any scratches on the glass from having that keyboard right on it. I will say it was fast. It's got the Core i5, and I've got a Core i5 in my home desktop system that I built, which I've got overclocked, so that may give it a little advantage. I will say my home system's a little bit faster, but you don't imagine a tablet to really be so fast. It was very fast, bringing everything up very quick. The only thing it lagged a little on was turning. When I rotated it, it seemed to take a little time for it to reorient. But in terms of opening programs, even intensive things, it really seemed fast. So I'm guessing they've got a pretty good solid state drive solution in it, and then the Core i5 is just plain fast processor. So that was very nice. I did try out the stylus pen, that little piece that comes with it that goes into the side. It attaches magnetically right where normally your power cable connects magnetically, which is a very nice feature. Of course, you know, Apple's been doing this for a while, and other companies finally figured out that you don't have a plug in to power the portable device that'll break off if you accidentally get up with it. So they've got that right, definitely having the magnetic connection for that. But about the pen, I see that thing getting lost, I'm afraid. Because when you've got the power plugged in to the Surface and you're charging it, there's really no place to put the pen, and it's small and it's a dark color. I just think that's going to get lost pretty soon. I did use it. I did find that it's certainly got more. It's got more precision in selecting something on the screen. But to be doing other things, I mean, even if you're on the keyboard and you have to do something with your hand on the screen to go and get the pen and then do the thing and then put the pen back, I think unless you have a special need for some application that could really take advantage of that stylus pen, I think it's going to end up like the little keypad you have at the supermarket or the drugstore somewhere, where you pay with your credit card and then you have to punch in your PIN number and you have to select the cash back and this and that, and they give you that pen to tap on the screen. But if you notice, most people don't use it. You just get your fat finger in there and keep poking on it till it goes, and I think that's pretty much how the use of the screen will go on this. Unless you have a real need for it, I suspect people, hopefully before they lose that pen, will take it and put it in a desk drawer just in case they do need it later. One of the things I noticed is on the outside edge of the Surface there is a little rocker bar for volume, so that's nice if you're using it for something audio, that you don't have to go in via software to mute it or something. You've got that, you can put the sound down real quick there. But really, I'm going to need to give it a good workout. Again, load up StarCraft 2 and see what it can do with that. So I've got big plans for Saturday. Now, whether there's going to be a line Saturday morning at the Microsoft stores to get this new Surface Pro, I don't know, but there really weren't many people at the Microsoft store here in Austin. I went in after lunch, and I would say there were at least a dozen employees all hanging around that part, because the Microsoft store has their Xbox section and so forth. But just in the section that was obviously for the Surface, must have been about a dozen employees and about 3 people looking. So, I mean, it was the employees were making the rounds about anything I can help you with. You have any questions? I mean, it was hard to actually have a moment's peace to concentrate on the thing, because people were constantly asking me how I was doing, which is nice, but that's sort of the situation. That I think they were anticipating having a lot more people there looking this over the week before it went on sale. Now, the other thing I can tell you, I don't know how anecdotal this is, I asked about the reservation pass. I'd seen some people had gotten those, so you can be sure you will be able to, they'll hold a Surface for you on Saturday till noon. As long as you go in with the card to pick it up, they have one for you. So I thought, well, I better get one of those. Who knows, maybe this thing really will take off. I asked about it and they said, we don't have any more. And I thought, uh-oh. The woman told me that they were only given 100 reservation cards. And I said, well, how many are you going to get in on Saturday? She said, a lot more than 100. So apparently it was more a promotional kind of thing, and maybe it was to stir up the idea that there might be a shortage, you know, you better go get your reservation made. So I'm hoping that won't be an issue, but she said, of course, they do have them at Best Buy as well, so I'm hoping that won't be an issue on Saturday morning. But I just thought I'd let you know that at least the store in Austin, they've already used up all their reservation cards.